We are live here in Dallas as Ohio State has just completed its media day. Miami coming in soon as both teams prepare for the Cotton Bowl. And now this is a highly anticipated showdown. A lot of the Miami fans have been talking about 2002 and that national championship game. So there's a lot of lore between these two programs starting in that game in the national championship in 2002, that Fiesta Bowl. And then you see a couple of rematches here and there sprinkled in over the last 25 years, but none of them for a trophy like they're going to be playing for in Dallas on Wednesday night as the Cotton Bowl is on the line. And we talked with a lot of the players and the coaches for Ohio State today, starting with Ryan Day. And something Day has emphasized all year long has been the foundation and the routine of this team. It's been very important for this team to keep their routine no matter what they're doing, so everything continues to come natural to them because routines are everything as a player. And then the foundation. We heard this last year with him when he's talking about brick by brick. Every single day, they are adding a brick to this foundation. And then when the storms come, it's going to be able to withstand it. And then you look at your foundation and say, when we get into adversity into a game, our foundation is going to be stronger than their foundation. And that's something that Ohio State banks on. That's not just a culture statement. That is the way that they view this program. This is the way that they view this game. And that is what Ryan Day and Ohio State are using as their foundation against Miami. Ryan Day also talked about the importance of having the right people on your staff and in your program and on your team. And it's clear that Ohio State does have the right people. They have the right coaches, players, and staff members. And then Ryan Day even talked about Buckeye Nation and how much all of it takes to win a game. Ryan Day said, I say it all the time, it takes all of us, and it does. And he mentioned all of those by name. But for Ohio State, the leadership of this team, we saw what happened last year. They lose to Michigan, and then they go on a generational run in the college football playoff. How does Ohio State duplicate that, but with this team's version, according to who this team is? And Ryan Day said it's because of the people. That is what gives me belief that they're going to be able to do that. And now you see the loss in the Big Ten championship to Indiana, and you have guys like Sonny Styles on your defense and Caleb Downs who are leading this team. They were there last year. They know what the conversations were like. They know what the preparation was like. They know what the games are like, the stage, all of the above. Now, how does it apply to this year? And that's where it talks about having the right people. The defense, Sonny Styles mentioned, he said, I understand the defense so well now. We know he said that a couple of weeks ago, and then he revisited that today. And he said, I'm just going to play aggressive because I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I'm just going to attack the offense. And when Miami throws out a guy like Malachi Tony Adam or Carson Beck is trying to make a read down the field, he doesn't have to think about what he's doing because he already knows it's second nature. And Ohio State's defense is allowed to just play aggressive and attack. And then you have a guy on the other side like Julian Sayet. And I said, Julian, how do you stay poised in these big moments? You know, his nickname is J. Cool, so we wanted to know the behind the scenes of that. Why is he J. Cool? And he's like, Ryan Day talks about staying poised in all the noise, and that's what he has to do. But he said he wants to stay even-keeled in the big moments. Saying also is a guy who has to weather the storm. He's like, I'm going to be the calm in the storm for the offense and for the team. He knows that he is the leader, and the team is going to rise or fall on him because he is the quarterback. And he has to carry that standard, and that's why he said it's so important for him to stay even-keeled, to stay calm no matter what adversity is hitting, whether that is in a big moment, whether that's in a bad moment. He throws an early interception into a game, an early touchdown pass. It doesn't matter. Julian said, I have to stay calm. And even Ryan Day, when he was talking about how do you stay calm and how do you continue to navigate all of these situations, it's with the right players. You recruit the right players. Poison the noise. These are the same sound bites that go, but he said it comes back to our routine and that it's everything. And when you prepare and you prepare and you prepare and you get to that stage, you don't actually rise to the occasion. You revert to the level of your training. And Ryan Day said, we're reverting to the level of our training. That's why it's so important to have a strong foundation. That's why it's so important to have a good culture and to have a good routine and to prepare the right way, because the most prepared team is the team that's going to win this game. And one of the big storylines in this game, because Miami has a really vaunted pass rush with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, is this offensive line for Ohio State. Tegra Shabola listed as doubtful on the availability report. Do not expect to see him in this Cotton Bowl. But then we have guys like Gabe Van Sickle or Sicko Mode or Josh Padilla. Are these guys ready? I believe that they are because of talking to the team and what the offensive lineman had to say, like Austin Saravel, Luke Montgomery, and then even talking to Gabe and Josh themselves. The common theme for all of them was that Tyler Bowen has instilled a ton of confidence in them. I asked both Van Sickle and Padilla, what gives you guys the confidence to know that you can step onto this stage here in the Cotton Bowl and you can play on this stage and maintain the standard that is required on the offensive line room at Ohio State? And they said, honestly, we have played in a lot of games this year. Getting those reps has been invaluable. But really where they started believing was before any of that even started. Because Tyler Bowen, the way he coaches and develops his players, he instills that confidence in you early. And then that builds. And then you get to, you know what? I'm going to go out there. Oh, I made that play. I got that block. I protected Julian here. All of that builds to in-game confidence to know, okay, now someone believes in me, but now I also know that I can do it. That is why the Ohio State offensive line is going to look to find success against Miami and stopping this pass rush. Ryan Day joked about it in his press conference last week. He said, you just block them. That's the way to stop the pass rush, is you block them. And that's easier said than done, especially with injuries, but it's not unfamiliar territory for Ohio State, because last year, losing 2 offensive linemen, including your center and an early round draft pick in Josh Simmons, and you said, okay, what's going to happen? It's next man up mentality. So this is not unfamiliar territory for Ohio State, which I did talk about with the offensive linemen. They said, it's next man up. This is what we do. This is the standard of the room. Coach Bowen believes in all of us, and we're going to see a rotation of guys. We're going to see them play. My personal opinion, I do think that we see Gabe Van Sickle as the starter. I think that's pretty widely spread news, but that's who I would expect to be in the starting slot at right guard on Wednesday night. But again, a lot going on in Dallas. We're going to have coverage continuing around the clock for you guys leading up to the game on game day. So make sure you're staying tuned to the Silver Bulletin. Follow me on Twitter at Blake Biscardi. And guys, again, reporting live, this is Blake Biscardi for the Silver Bulletin live in Dallas. Thank you for tuning in.